Hey Dance Fam, welcome to Purpose Chats with me, your host, Ashley Rich. This podcast was made with love for the dance community, so whether you're a dancer, dance teacher, studio owner, or an amazing dance parent, this podcast is for you. Each week, we will discuss topics on all things dance and life, but always deeply rooted in wisdom, grace, and purpose. So with that, go grab a snack and let's jump in. Hello, everyone. That was actually really funny. Of course, that would happen. Like, pause for a second. Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I'm really excited. This is our first recording that we're doing. I decided to just jump in. And if you don't know, this is Purpose Chats podcast. I'm Ashley Rich. I'm your host, and I have my bestie in the world, Tiana Hester, with us today. I'm really excited that she's here. Again, if you listen to our previous episode, I had her on. We were talking about like why it's important to have diverse teachers, and she was like a really big blessing. So I was like, let's do it again. Yes. And before I let her, intro herself a little bit, I just like felt like it was important to just hop on video. If you don't personally know me, I am an introvert, extrovert, I like to call myself. So my profession is very extroverted. I can't really be an introvert, but in my private life, I'm very introverted. Unless you're like on my inner circle, then you'll get the crazy giggles and me and who But I felt like the Lord wanted me to start doing videos so you guys can just see me, hopefully connect with me
Get out of
more.
that comfort zone.
I know, and just taking that step. And, I have had a little bit of a pause from my pod. I honestly, when I feel like I need to take a break, I'll take a break and I won't say nothing to nobody. And that's just something that I've been really working on, is not having to give everybody explanations for every single thing I do. I feel like the Lord's telling me to. Speaking that or putting that on my heart. So I just had to take a little break to refocus and just kind of like get on par with what I feel like we gonna like step into with this podcast. And it's also hard for me to even like speak up. It's easy as a teacher, but this is a different space. So bear with me. If you've been listening, thank you for supporting. I hope you continue to support. I'm excited for what's to come. But without further ado, Miss TT, I call her TT, Fiance.
Oh my gosh, you call me
Cinder,
in the
my angel.
in the book. You got a whole book of names.
And I think of new ones all the time when I just text her like, "Hey, this is your name for now." But intro yourself. You have anything? I mean, you're a family. You're not like your family on this podcast. You're not really like a guest anymore. So
What's No, but I never like talking about myself anyway. So introducing myself is super hard. My name is Tiana. I'm a dancer.
To my godson, shout out.
To be the queen. Not healed, healing, but
The process.
we are to make sure that lay it out online first. Okay? I am not perfect. Well, to the human standard.
I love that.
He created us.
That's
particularly imperfect for him. So not perfect to the human standard, but yes. I'm the other side. I feel like I'm the other end, like the yin to the yang. So you're the, reserved. No, we're both reserved, but it's just two different ends like we have. So I'm like the other, I feel like I'm the other half where it's like, you may not say this, but I'll say it. And then I may not be capable or have the capacity to say certain things, but you will be the one to be like, what? I just feel like, and I'm going to let you do that because that helps me a lot. That's my intro.
I love it. Yeah, I just feel like I have to share this because it's so funny. Yes, she's a mother. She's an amazing mom. Actually, her son is my godson, and her son is just the sweetest,
So sweet. So,
the sweetest. I mean, I just can't. I just had to like
and
give
we're
you a
not
little.
going to even say anything about me like not being sweet because I believe that I am. But like, it was like Carson was Ashley's child, but I just had him.
Even
So
sometimes when
it's
he talks to me, I'm like, it sounds like he sounds like me.
he
Things that
does,
he
he
said.
does, he does.
Oh
My
man.
baby, yeah, he's a blessing for sure. He definitely is like a product of like what God wanted me to see that I'm capable of being able to carry and bear and be a part of and you know my actual heart, even with the hard exterior. Getting better though, so that's
You
long
Tiana,
again. The growth is
you're
real.
actually way sweeter. If
The growth
anything,
is
I feel like in some ways we've switched roles. I'm a little bit more like
mm-hmm.
sassy now, but like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's more so like maturity and that I just
Yeah,
feel like
it
it's
is.
not, but I feel like God's speaking. I'm like, "Wah, wah." Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I
It's
feel like
like
you have my
the
boundaries on
between
point.
yeah, between like me not having a filter in the past and being able
Mhm.
to use my voice, but not in a elegant way. Or I won't say it wasn't elegant, but just not in a way where it was kingdom. It's like not everything has to be said, and if things are said, know the time, know the place, use wisdom. Be able to listen, be quicker to listen, slower to speak. And
Mhm.
now, me being mature, it's like, oh, I see that now versus then. And it was like for you, you were the complete opposite. It's like, oh, you have a voice. Why you don't speak up? It's like you're using all this wisdom and you're carrying yourself in a certain way, where not a lot of people are capable of doing, at such a young age. And then now there's like this, swap where it's not necessarily, you are unfiltered or you have this, mindset where it's like, well, I'm gonna just say what I want to say, and this is this is the ugly truth, And I don't think I was ever like that either, but it's just one of those things where, you know, now God has given you the space to utilize your voice
Mhm.
and minister in a way that is different from what you've been doing. The
Mhm.
physical where we move, we minister through our movement and our bodies versus our voices. And the things that He has called us to say and speak about. And now for me, my season of maturity and growth is, listen, be able to listen, be able to interpret what that means versus, trying to make your own narrative and create your own idea of what somebody else is saying, or not being able to actually hear them, but
Mhm.
listening just to be able to respond. That was back in my immature days. So I'm able to voice that and say that, and it's real when you could talk about what it is that you used to do,
Yeah.
you've come through,
Yes.
when you pass that, you can talk about it. But if you ain't past it, you can't talk about it. So,
Right.
that's all right though. That's all right.
No,
That's why
I
we on
feel
time
that.
back.
I mean, I feel like in that same vein, I am a let me not say all recovered because I am still like working on it every day. I have to actually remind myself, but at people pleasing, I think God really like bringing me out of that more so in my life now. It's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
I just can't worry about what everybody thinks about everything. And growing up, I was like that. Like I wanted to create peace. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
when we're little, we have these qualities that are going to be used, but when they get refined as you get older, if you want to get refined, because that's a process too.
Yeah.
But that's a subject for another day. But I feel like this like past season was really about people pleasing and releasing a lot of that. And it's like even in
Mm-hmm.
little ways, even me being on video was really hard for me. And I was like, I don't want to be on video. Like I just don't want to
Mhm.
do that. Like I just don't love social media. If I have to be in the mood to want to post.
Yeah.
And it's literally like, if something just really exciting happens and I'm like, you know what, I want to share this or I want to encourage somebody. Other than that, I'm like, let me go on see what my five, friends are doing and then get off
Mhm.
and I'll just be
Right.
a hermit. But I just feel like that's just not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Um, and I just feel like you said, like maturity changes you. And now I'm not as afraid to speak up and say what I have to
Yeah.
say, because like I'd rather say it than not say it. And I share this with my students a lot. I never want to like be so fearful that I don't do what I feel like the Lord wants me to do, and then somebody else does it because they were obedient. Like that's so scary to me. Or like
Mhm.
it might be like, all right, you didn't use this properly. I'm gonna give this to no.
Mhm.
So, this is a faith walk, but I love that. Yeah, growth is important. I love that we took that
Yeah.
tip because just
Yeah, and it's all about perspective. I feel like at the end of the day, everybody has their own perspective on certain things. So there may be people who may not even agree with this, but you know what?
and
It
that's
is what it
okay.
is because
That is
everybody is created individually, and that's what I like to say. This is the joy of being an adult because you get to do what you want to do, and you get to feel how you want to feel, and it's only between you and the Lord at the end of the day when all of it's
amen.
said and done. So,
Amen. No, I feel that. Sorry, I'm just turning up a little bit. Okay. So I wanted to just jump in. We're not gonna go so nitty gritty. I feel like this could be a whole nother episode too. But I have been judging and it's been really great. But also like you and me have competed in the past. We've danced our whole lives. We've taught so many places. And obviously
mm-hmm,
we are two Black women in this industry, and like we do
mm-hmm,
have different niches and different paths. And I feel like that's the beauty of like being able to do life with somebody. It's like I love the path that you're on, and I also feel like you appreciate the path I'm on, and it's nice to see like, the spaces you're in and vice versa. But it's funny because
mm-hmm,
we have gotten chances to share spaces together and go through things
mm-hmm,
together that we're like, really? So that's really why I wanted you to be on here with me. I originally was going to do this like part 2 about like how to approach like race in your studio with grace and wisdom. And because I feel like a lot of studios are really like, kid gloves with it. And sometimes you can't really have kid gloves about things that need to be discussed or just like simple things about like costumes. So
mm-hmm,
I guess I just wanted us to chat and like give some insight a little bit, maybe help some people. Um, you know, with like little simple things because I do think sometimes we overthink things instead of just like kind of using like I don't say common sense, but yeah, like you just using common sense and being like, if I don't know, let me just ask. And I feel like, with the state of our world, I would much rather somebody ask me than to assume like that. I would much rather. So, with that, I kind of just want to hop in. But oh, wait, before I say this, like T said, like if this does not serve you, like what we're talking about, that's okay. But I will say in our experience, we have a lot of teaching experience and a lot of dance experience. And, we have had to choose costumes. And I know for me and her, we're very aware of the costumes we choose. And we're
mm-hmm,
very aware of the hairstyles and all these different things based on who we're working with. We never want anybody to feel left out. So, this advice or, this chat is really to just hopefully open minds, hopefully, give you more insight and help above anything else. I really truly want us to be able to help. So,
mm-hmm,
um, with that, I I feel like, in my judging experience, I've noticed this a lot and I have seen a change, so I'm very grateful for that. But like simple things like undergarments.
mm, okay,
Now, I know when we were younger, there wasn't an array of choices. Like, obviously you see our complexions. I was wearing tights Tiana's color.
right.
Because there weren't.
Who's white? Listen, we gonna keep it 100 on here, okay? I told y'all I love Jesus, but He
Guys,
created me to be this way. Said I was the other side of her.
Guys, we gotta
This
do
is
better.
where
No, we gotta do better. Like look at I just want you to take a second, really look if you are listening to this and you can't like see us right now. Tiana is more fair skinned. I am more on the chocolate spectrum. She is more on the like vanilla latte side of the spectrum of the chocolate
in the
spectrum.
wintertime. In the summertime, I'm a little bit more of a caramel macchiato.
Yes.
I just
So
have
like
to
there
say
should be
that.
no reason why we're wearing the same color tights when it comes to these like so called tan. I mean, now we've gotten better. We call them like, skin colored
Fan.
or like all these different colors, but I'm grateful now that there are like I know a lot of brands have come out, dance brands have come out with like different options. I just feel like we have to
The
investigate
times have evolved. The
because
times
like
have evolved, which is good. I feel like
yeah.
there's three things that come to mind, before even getting into this is like number one, accept the facts. Accept the facts that you, me, we, she, everybody, we all are created differently as far as tone, skin tone.
Mhm.
If I'm
Mhm.
black, I'm black. I'm not, ain't no extra stuff. You got to just accept the facts, right? Except that we come from two different lifestyles and backgrounds, and that's just what it is. Culture wise, skin tone,
That's
all of
true.
that. Number
Good
two,
point.
there's an art in asking questions, like you said, not assuming.
Mhm.
You have to, there is a specific art in being able to ask questions. Not just asking questions, but it's the way that you there's a
Mhm.
time, there's a space, there's a place, there's a tone, there's a delivery. And number three, dropping offense, dropping offense because there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who can be offended easily, and it's like if you pick up the spirit of offense, that's on you, that's not on me. I didn't ask God to make me black. So if you are an instructor who happens to be Caucasian, white, whatever you want to say or call it, because we have to
Or
lay
any
this
other
out,
culture, to
this
be
is
honest.
or
It
any other
could be.
culture that's not, whatever color you are. You have to remember that there will be parents who are out there who do not have these qualities or do not have the capacity to understand these three things that I just said,
Mhm.
so you cannot be offended. You can't be offended. Or if you are a student, even there, I know that there are students on here that listen and stuff. If you're a student and you're working to become an instructor, or you know, you have goals to be able to teach one day or to work with, competition dancers or dancers, recreational, whatever competition, you have to know that you can't be offended because
Mhm.
we've already gone through that. We've gone through
Mhm.
those things, right? So this is why we're sharing, with the world and people who don't know, who may not be educated on this. Hey, if I had a teacher that was not black and she said, "Oh, this is a perfect color for you," and it was dark brown,
Yeah.
then what? So this is why,
Yeah.
and we say these things with love. This is
Yes, of
not,
course. That's why
to
we're like
be
chuckling
a
because
certain
we've gone
way,
through it.
but again, I think one of the biggest things too, as far as going back in the beginning of this podcast, is understanding that we do have a voice and we are Black women.
Mhm.
So there are ways that we can communicate, and there are ways that you and I, you and I actually, we understand our language, and this is the joy of being able to be a Black woman where we can speak this way because we've already dealt with the things that we've dealt with in the culture of dance. So
Mhm.
I'm free to be able to speak this way because I no longer have to worry about wearing certain undergarments that don't fit me as a woman, as a grown woman, because my mama didn't know, and if she did know, cool. But was she always around to help me with costumes? No. So that was my
Mhm.
story, right? Luckily, we had an African American teacher to
Yep.
be able to have our backs and be like, you can't wear that, baby. Like, that's just that. No, this is the color that she needs. This is the color that she needs. And I know that there are certain dancers out there who may not have the guidance and may not understand,
But that's
you
why we're
know.
here.
So there you go. Those three things I feel like
Mhm.
You know, before going into this, you have to remember that, you know, there's an art in asking questions. You have to accept the facts, and you just you cannot be quick to be offended.
Yeah. I agree. And I think even to that point, like like the just being different, I think there's beauty in that. I think because we're Black teachers, it's a difference in how we teach and how we enter a space because we're already thinking about including everybody because we wanna be included.
Mhm.
Obviously, our whole life, we wanna be accepted, included, so we create spaces like that, right? It's
Right.
important to us because we don't want anybody and you know me and you have worked in very diverse environments, like, we've worked at any kind of studio you could think of, any kind of group you could think of, and
Yep.
so we have learned how to adapt, number 1. Number 2, to speak into things that might be uncomfortable, and so I think that one thing I would say for teachers out there or even studio owners, if you're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know, like, how to do this tight situation." Like, number 1, there are tights for every skin complexion, I wanna say right now, or even close enough that I just feel like we have to do better in caring for our dancers who are African American and making sure they have the proper tights because it does look really off to me when I'm watching a group of amazing dancers and I see, you know, a few African American dancers on stage that have different colored tights, like, that's just to me, it's distracting. Because 'cause I'm like, "Okay,
Mhm.
you have the same tights on as everybody, but no dancer is made the same," you know?
Right.
So, just like we wouldn't put everybody in you know, everybody has different body types, we wanna put something complementary to everybody in the group, I would hope. We wanna make sure the undergarments that are seen or, like, their leotards like, there's leotards, undergarment leotards that are the correct
Right.
colors. There's no need.
Right.
So,
Speaking of which,
I I can't with you. There's receipts, guys.
because we did a gig, and I was like, "Oh my God, the fishnets not coming in." I had to ask one of the other dancers who happened to be white, and she but it made me a little, and I was like, you know what, I respect that. I
Yeah,
respect that were you were lighthearted about it because you didn't want to like give it to me and
play
just be
you.
like, oh, you know, it's like, yeah, we were two different. Yeah, but the other dancer, she ended up having some more tannish kind of fishnets, and it worked out. But I'm telling you that this is important. This is
So
important.
important.
It is.
Even and even if they don't say it, I'm just gonna speak on behalf of every little Black dancer in all of everywhere who might be the minority in the group. It's
Mm,
such a difference when they feel seen. It's such a difference when they can feel like they matter in the group and as far as costumes. Like, I have had conversations with people about this.
mm,
You know, about how it made them feel like I have tights. And even my mom, she thinks this is hilarious because I always bring this up. Because when I was little, there were no options. So when I tell her that,
mm.
she's like, "Actually, you gotta let it go." She's always like, "You gotta let." I'm like, "No, I will not let it go."
Uh,
Because it
and this
makes
is
me
why
so
we talking about this
happy,
to this day.
right? Because it makes me so happy when I see somebody on stage. I actually just saw this like, I think it was, like, last week and I was judging, and I saw a group, and they did multiple dances, and they all had the right tight colors and jazz shoes because
Mm,
there are jazz shoes
yeah,
too.
don't forget about
Hello.
the shoes.
Yes,
Don't
and
forget
it
about
just
the
looks so
leotards.
yeah, it looks so complete. The whole line was nice. I
Yeah,
commented on it. I was like, "You know what? Kudos to the studio and whoever chose this costume because it is, so beautiful to see all of the dancers look their best and not
yeah,
see one type color for everybody."
right. Yeah,
Like
I have two things I feel like, and you know, I want you
Mhm.
to keep going, but I just wanted to say this is a time where you have to see color.
Yes, and that's
And
actually
then
what I meant,
also
like,
when
just
you
yeah,
come
being in the room.
to us, like as the, you know, just being little Black girls back in the day, you know, feeling seen is one thing, but feeling seen in a good way, not because our hair looks different than yours, not because, oh, now I got to get braids to put my hair up in a ponytail or a style for competition because my hair is not fine and it doesn't just go in a ponytail. Or if I get a press, I'm gonna sweat my hair out. So I have to alter my style in order to blend in. You know, it's like it's not only about feeling seen, but feeling seen in the right way. Not because, oh, we stand
Matter.
out. Because I remember being asked questions like, oh, your hair doesn't go in a ponytail. and certain things like that, or
Yeah.
having to have a certain style. I can't just switch up. I'm sorry. I got to
Yeah.
get braids now. Now I got to go sit for 4 hours to get some braids for competition in order to be able to change my hair, and still working with kids to this day who have to do that. So I feel you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we want to be seen, but we want to be seen in a positive way, or be seen in a way where it makes us feel good and
Mhm.
included, not different enough to where it's like, oh, I'm so different that, oh, maybe this is a bad thing. Is my
Mhm.
hair not good because it's
Right.
not the same? And I feel like as Black women now, we're just now coming into being able to accept ourselves naturally, no makeup some days, wearing an afro some days, because of these things that has happened in our now
Yes.
field of work when we were kids, when we were growing up in the dance studio, dancing with, you know, majority of non-black students, because
Yeah.
it was only a few of us, but we had
Yeah.
a black teacher.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to really think about specifically, because there's, a caveat to those things. Like, yes, you don't have to see, but you have to see it in here. You have to,
You
because
have
in
to.
order for us to feel confident and feel like, oh wow, cool. Now I have something that matches, or yes,
Yes.
I could be the only black dancer out of all of these beautiful women, but as long as everything matches. And the times have
So,
changed and evolved, which is great. But it is becoming a thing where it's like, oh, now look at all these shades of brown. Look at all these nudes. Like,
makes me
and it
so
still kind
happy.
of gives like that. I'm so happy about it, but like, why couldn't they have done this back
When we
then?
were
But it's
little,
okay
like
though.
point shoes, but it's
Yeah.
fine. I'll let that go. But it does make me happy that now, like point shoes and ballet shoes, and like there's a variety of different shades, and I think that's beautiful. And that's why I feel like it's important to even have this and for us to share our hearts, because like this is something real. So when I do see that it's not the case, it does make me like, come on. We don't have to
Mm-hmm.
be like this, and take the time to see that you do have diverse students. And
Yeah.
actually, to the hair point, just like we can wrap up hair and makeup together, I feel like it's important to make sure that you have like you set out when you I know how the whole competition thing, you send out the makeup and all this, make sure you have a variety for everybody's skin complexion, because
Mm-hmm.
as a choreographer, I know like who's in my group. And when they ask me about makeup, I always think about that. And if especially if
mm.
they're
Yeah,
not
because that's
necessarily my
big.
true skin complexion, like the same skin complexion as me, I'm gonna make sure I have a variety. Like this is the color I
Yeah.
want, and these are the different colors based on your shade. I think that's so
Yeah.
important.
Makeup is very big too.
Me and
And as
Tiana cannot wear
someone,
the same color. Like
no, right. I
so
mean, I
like
could wear your color on my contour. I could do that. But as somebody, who is focusing on solutions, right? There are probably instructors who want to know, okay, well then what do I need to do? Do I
mhm.
depend on the parent? Because what if the parent doesn't know?
No.
You can, I mean, obviously there's resources. Hey, Fenty, Rihanna has a perfect
Yes.
set of, foundations and concealers, because obviously, me going to cosmetology school helps. I ain't no makeup artist. I don't call me no MUA, but
Yes.
these are the resources. Fenty, if you would like to, find the best or easiest one, Rihanna has a perfect set of African American, foundation or color, skin tones, for African Americans, foundations and concealer wise. And hey, if you are listening or if you're watching, what you want to think about is, if you need to find a match, you're always going to put it on your jawline. Like, you take the
Mhm.
color, you put it on the jawline. If there's a line of demarcation between the face and the neck, you will now know that that is the wrong color. These are for those people who is like, okay, well, help me out here, because we can have
Right?
conversations, but I need the tools and the resources. Listen, if you are somebody who's hands on as an instructor, you go ahead and check them babies by putting their foundation or whatever it is that they have. If they bring something to you, put it on that jawline. You make
Mhm.
sure that it's the same color as their neck, and you can go ahead and tell that, there you go. There's we got that out the way. Makeup is done. Now next we
Yeah.
got We got to focus on
Wait,
the
really
undergarment.
quick though. Before we switch, I can't. Before we switch, um, I was gonna say that Sephora actually, if because Fenty, if that price point is a little too much, Sephora's brand actually has really great, like you can see there's a nice range of just not even just lipsticks, but lipsticks, foundations, contour, blush, all these things that you can literally go in and ask them. And you can even send
Mm-hmm.
all your dancers to go if they're older, obviously. Younger, one thing that I have done is started doing recently is going on Pinterest
Mm-hmm.
and literally typing in red lipstick for brown skin, like red
Mm.
lipstick for fair skin. And if I
Oh,
have
that's
two like
cool.
different shades, and then I put it on a little mood board and I send it off. And I feel like that's been really helpful just so they can
Awesome.
see like visually and then like literally showing them like the different shades of tights and telling them this is where you need to go or this is what you need to do. And I'll add it in the show notes, like resources and all that. But you guys, there's so many things that you can do now. There's no excuse. And then even like hair, I love that you brought that up. Hair, I saw a studio that actually had like they decided everybody's gonna wear a ponytail the whole time, and they had girls that were wearing their hair in a natural state, and I got teary eyed because I loved that they accepted. Okay, everybody's gonna wear a ponytail, but that's gonna look different, and that's okay. They didn't straighten
Mm-hmm.
their hair and do all of that, and it
Extra
literally
stuff.
it all that extra stuff because they might not want to if they do want to get braids. If they don't, that's their prerogative. But
Mm-hmm.
I think just finding a hairstyle that works with everybody and not making people feel bad. And if you're not sure, then ask the parent, don't ask the dancer. Well, what can you do with your hair? Do not do that.
Mm-mm.
Ask the parent in a respectful way, email them or say, "Hey, I want to hop on the phone and just, talk about our
Right.
hairstyles coming up. I want to make sure I'm including everybody." Using
Right.
that language, including, and I see that your child is beautiful and is African American or, whatever. Yeah, lead with the positive. It's all good to ask questions, it's just how you do it, not what can you do with your hair, and your hair is different, like, of course our hair is different, God
Mm-hmm.
made it different for a reason. So I think
Right.
that that's, like I love that, that there's ways to get around these things. Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, and most importantly, just educate yourselves. I feel like we research every single thing, but the important things, right? I
Mhm.
mean, because I can, I'll Google why are cinnamon rolls round, but it's like you educating yourself on stuff that's unnecessary. At the end of the day, I'm just here to encourage you, educate yourself because
Yes.
what helps is to understand prior to asking the question. And I think if we can search for certain things and we can look for certain things and we can educate ourselves and be intentional about um, getting the knowledge that we need, that will help with the art of asking, right? So we know
Mhm.
where to lead, we know how to lead, we know what to start with, and we know how to approach these things that are sensitive to people who may feel like they have to walk on eggshells because they don't want to offend anyone. And I get that, I understand that,
100%.
um, so yeah, just educate yourself and just remember, I feel like if we can accept the facts and we can make sure that, we see the minority, or
Mhm.
we may not be a minority anymore. I'm not really sure, but that's another
It's another topic
discussion.
for the I think in
But
certain spaces maybe, but not
yeah,
in the grand scheme of the world.
yeah. I feel like we can help dancers start to feel more confident. We can, help
Every
them start
dancer.
to feel less uh, just different in a bad way. You know,
Yeah. I
no,
mean,
nobody wants to feel like an alien.
no, and I've literally seen T's classes, and she makes everybody feel loved. Like, we love all the kids we teach. We don't care if they're yellow, green, blue, magenta.
Right.
However they come in that room, we take them as they are and we love them. So, what we're encouraging, because I feel like this is something more so if you are a black teacher, I know you're resonating with this, that when you're in a classroom, you see everybody for who they are and you celebrate differences. And I'm not saying that nobody else does that, but I think it is something because we want that for ourselves. You
Yeah,
just normally when you
we've
want something for
desired
yourself,
that.
you emulate that, right? But I want to encourage all teachers. all studio owners, like, start seeing your students for who they really are and celebrating that and encouraging in that and making sure that they look their best. Because that when they look their best when they're competing or performing or doing whatever showcase, it just makes a difference, and they feel seen and
Mhm.
loved and like they matter. They matter just like
Yeah.
everybody else. So, um
And I just want to add to that. Start teaching your students to do the same thing, to see people for who they are.
yeah.
Well, again, accept the fact that see them for who they are,
Mhm. Yeah.
see them for what they are,
Yes.
and
Like,
understand that everybody's different and we all have different lifestyles and we all have different, um, things that we go through culturally. So, yeah,
I love that. Aw, I know this is like I feel like we're gonna have a whole 'nother episode because
yeah,
yes,
we need a part two. We
well,
definitely
this is actually
do.
part 2. We're gonna have part 3 because we have to. There's a whole
What was our part
yeah,
one?
I did part 1 already, and it was
Oh,
just, like, scratching the surface, like, but I feel like this could be, like, over. There's so many things you could address, but I hope this, like, helped, like, costuming, like, if you need help, I reach out to us, please. Our Instagram handles and our emails are gonna be in the show notes, but we are here as resources. I wanna help if you need, like if you're like, "I don't know what to do, with hair, and I don't know what to do with makeup." Like, I've literally had someone from a studio ask me, and it literally touched my heart. She was like, I feel weird asking you, but I wanna know, what do I do about
mm,
hair for my students?
yeah,
Should I ask them to get braids? Should I not?" And I was like, "It's up to them, but find a hairstyle that everybody feels comfortable with, but don't bring it to the kids, bring it to the parents, and make
I
sure
love that.
that, and even you could even send a group email, like, to all your parents, like, "I love that I have a diverse set of students. I wanna make sure that I have hairstyles that are appropriate for everyone so everybody can show up in their best, whatever they feel most confident and beautiful in." Because at the end of the day, we're not it's not just about dance, we're building we're building humans, right? We're helping to
Yeah,
raise these kids, and if you didn't think that, if you didn't know dance teachers
right. Because we've
or
been
coaches
moms.
did that, like, seriously, like, they spend so much time at the studio. So they do become like your kids. So we're helping in that. It's important developmentally to make sure that they feel loved and seen and that they matter. It's how they show up in the world, not just on stage. So it so matters. So matters.
It
But
does.
we'll talk about more to come. But before I wrap, I just wanted to make a little announcement. I knew you were gonna be eyebrow. That's why I did that side shoulder. So Summer of Purpose, we've recently started promoting it, but now we're into like high gear. Let's go. It's July 28th through the 30th in New York City. This is our second year doing it. I'm really pumped because I feel like the first year was like, all right, Lord, is everybody gonna show up? So when
Yeah.
everybody showed up, and it was amazing. I was just really touched and I was like, wow, this is so needed. And if you don't know, it's literally a 3-day intensive that results in a dance video on the third day of the intensive. And it's just like a bunch of classes that are literally tailored to not only grow them as dancers, but from the inside out. They're gonna walk away transformed because the students that I saw walk in last summer in the beginning were completely different when they left. I was like, "Ooh, she walking with
That's
her
good.
head up, shoulders down, ready to go." And so
Mm.
I'm excited for this year. We've planned some really amazing things, and Tiana will be joining us
Mm.
this year.
I'm
I'm
excited.
excited. Guys, like,
Mm.
this faculty is fire. Like, I'm excited. I feel like I'm gonna be taking everybody's classes. Like, we're gonna be doing
Okay.
faculty announcements later, like, this month very soon, but Tiana,
Okay.
since she's on here, I was like, "Let me just jump
Oh,
out and just
okay.
say, Iana is gonna be with us for Summer of Purpose, and she's teaching hip hop. We call our teachers like faculty, but also like mentors. So she is teaching hip hop, but also a mentor. And I'm excited for her to speak life into these young dancers. So if you're fortunate enough
Mm.
and you live in New York City or you don't, come through, travel, hop on a plane
Love
because you
that.
don't want to miss Summer of Purpose, the experience 2023. I will add info in our show notes where you can apply. You have to be there. That's
Yeah.
actually our tag, is just be there,
Right. Be
period.
there.
Don't miss out. If you're like, "What is it about?" Hit me up. Let's set up a call. I'll tell you all about it, but I know it's important not just to teach dancers dance, but to teach them how to be purposeful, to show up in the world with purpose because they matter. And it's important for us to make sure that these dancers matter as they go into their different endeavors in dance. So thank you, Miss TT,
good.
for being on our first video episode. We're just, we're just trying to do our best here. So, that's all we're trying to do is progress. We're not trying to be perfect. If we're not trying to be anything but ourselves. So hope y'all feel our love through this. And you guys are so loved. Thank you for listening to Purpose Chats. And I'll see you soon.
That's it.
Peace.
Well, Dance Fam, once again, I'm Ashley Rich, and I want to thank you for listening to the Purpose Chats podcast.